you take a cab and you say Fillmore, and he'd be like, Fillmore, you know, it's like, where is it at? You know, you gotta actually tell him where it's at. I don't think too many people know about Fillmore.
It is the most beautiful street in Williamsburg. It's only 1 block long. It's very special.
Anybody that walks down this block always says, oh, we love this block.
It's a neighborhood. It's a place where you know your neighbors' names.
The nice thing about Fillmore Place is that there's so many owner-occupants. I mean, really, the street only has about 3 or 4 buildings where there's tenants, so you've got a pretty close-knit group of people who care about their property, who care about their children, who care about what's going on. Plus, it's such a small one-way street that there's no reason that people really need to come down this road. In essence, if you talk to a lot of the families, they wish they could just block it off with gates and, you know, Fillmore could be just a walking street.
I think Fillmore Place is this really unique microcosmic neighborhood of its own, just the whole block. It represents to me what living in Brooklyn's about. People from different cultures, people from different backgrounds, people who do different things for a living.
It's a nice mixture of everyone, not everyone, but it's a good mixture of the population of Williamsburg. You know, sort of the hipster versus, you know, Latino population. That ratio is kind of nice here. I mean, there was gentrification when I got here, because clearly I'm one of the gentrifiers, but a lot more stores, a lot more bars, restaurants, things like that. And the street itself, I've definitely seen a larger influx of, you know, the young urban professional types that would normally be living maybe in the East Village, West Village, you know, somewhere in Manhattan.
At one time or another, you didn't see like yellow cabs come around here, or you didn't see a lot of white people at all. They were scared to come over here. And this block has always been quiet like this. The way it is now, it's always been like this. It used to be half Italians, half Puerto Ricans. Now it's a mix. A lot of Spanish people moving out, but we all know why that is, because of the rent, you know? And we see more yuppies coming in, but to each his own. I guess they can pay the rent, you know?
Everywhere is changing, you know? Condos all over, and, you know, where it used to be abandoned buildings is all buildings now, you know? We can't get into them, but hey, at least somebody can. It's being gentrified very, very well, you know, like the Spanish are not like, oh, get these people out of here, we was here first, you know what I'm saying? There's none of that. There's no color barrier here on this block, you know?
This is kind of our little neighborhood right here. It's kind of our little park and our little playground, and so everyone sort of looks out for everybody else, and there are always people out on the street.
I live here, and even though this is my house, the whole block is where I live. So I try to see if I can keep it from, you know, people doing anything messed up in the street where I live and where my kids live. Hopefully they don't get to do the big buildings that they want to do. Because if they do the big buildings, it'll kill the light, and it'll make the block dreary, very dark, and once it changes into that, it actually changes the atmosphere of the area. The brightness and the way everything looks, and how the houses, how the people react makes it live.
Right on the corner of Driggs and North First, and then Driggs and Grand, I've actually seen the plans. I have these plans to build these 10 to 15-story towers. They're like luxury condominiums. So, and that's sort of taking advantage of the more lax zoning regulation on the south side of Fillmore Place. And that would obviously affect the historical character of this wonderful little block that we all live on.
As everything else grows, we're hoping Fillmore just contains and remains to be, you know, it's a cute little street that it has been.